Good morning, everyone. Hope I am audible to all. Please acknowledge whether the screen is also visible to all or not.
Sir, audible and visible, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I'm starting the class now. There are around 37 participants right now. So if you have any doubts, please raise it out by speaking on the mic. I'm closing the chat box. So yesterday we have seen some of the programs for creating of a form, and we know that form is required whenever you want to send data from one HTML page to another HTML page or to server. So whenever you want to send the data, that data can be sent either in the hidden format or it can be sent in a plain text format. The methods for sending the data was get method, which was sending the data without encrypting it, plain text added to the URL. But when it was sent as a method using the post method, then the data which we are sending from the first HTML page to the server or to the second HTML page was getting encrypted at the client side, and it was being sent over the internet to the server or to the second page. So we have seen that there are certain benefits if we use the post method, but still, why does Google go for get method? It is because they want the fastness to be there. They don't want any security issues to be involved, because to encrypt the data, then to decrypt the data and understand, interpret what is the data about, what is a query about, it takes a lot of time. That's why the Google has eliminated that step itself and made it so fast. So irrespective of that, we want to learn how to create a basic form. For creating a basic form, what we have done is we have taken uh, three controls of the form. Two being the text boxes, one being the button. So to create those facilities, what we have done is we have started our program as usual, and in the body we have to make use of a particular tag called as form tag. And in that form tag, after submitting the form, what action is to be performed is to be mentioned in the action attribute of the form tag, and what method is to be used to send the data to the server or to the second page is to be mentioned. These two attributes of the form, action and the method, are compulsory to be mentioned. Okay, they are must and should be there along with the form. Now, we have mentioned that we want to locate a particular HTML page, which was our home.html. You can have any web page mentioned over here as per your convenience. Suppose this is a login page. What will be the home page of the user that will be given back to the user once the form login is done? So for creating this type of form, you know that this is a first name written as a plain text, so it doesn't require any markup to be mentioned. I've just mentioned it as a plain text. It will get displayed on the browser. Now to create the text box, we have used one command or one tag called as input. This input tag is having an attribute called as type, whose value determines what type of input do you want to have in the form. This type of input may be a plain text box, which is single line text box containing some limited number of characters, or it may be a text area wherein you can enter multiple lines of code or multiple lines of data. It may be a button for uploading of a file, it may be for image or something like that. We have seen all the attributes one after the other. But right now I'm interested to create a text box here. So that's why I'm taking type equal to text. And I'm giving, since there are multiple text boxes here, I want to distinguish between the first and the second. That's why I'm giving a name to this particular text box, telling that the name is first underscore name. This is my user given name. You can give any name. It acts like a variable name in the HTML. Now, what should be the value inside this one? Whatever the user types in, that becomes the value of that particular text box variable. But initially, to the user, he or she should be able to enter and it should be blank, right? The value should be initially blank so that the user can enter something. That's why we are keeping value equal to just simple two double quotes. That means there is nothing in between. Whatever user enters, that will be the value that will be taken in for first underscore name. Now I'm telling there is a limitation for the user to enter a maximum of 100 characters. Just imagine where can we use it. For example, we can use it for our phone numbers. Our phone numbers, mobile phone numbers are built up of 10 digits wide, right? There are 10 digits of length. So I can say that maximum length should be 10. If a user tries to enter one more digit also, it will not take it. Similarly, your PIN number. Your PIN number is built up of around 13 characters. If you take 18 18054 hyphen CP hyphen 001, so it's coming around 13 digits wide, 13 characters wide. So all the limitations are very helpful when you want to have a cross checking. Now, after this particular first name and the input box, I want the last name to appear in the new line. That's why I'm breaking the line over here and I'm creating the same as we have created over here. Last name also. Last name and then the input box for it. And then for creating a button, I'm taking input type is equal to submit. This input type is equal to submit and the text. Both are keywords. Their meaning is fixed. If you mention text, it will create a text box. If you mention submit, it will create a submit button for us with a auto caption of submit written over there. If we wish, we can even change it. So to change that particular, for example, instead of submit, I can have login written there. To demonstrate how to make that change, I have just mentioned over here. Okay, value equal to submit. But by default, even if you skip off this value equal to submit, it will display that submit over there. Fine. Now, it's always a good practice to mention whatever attributes are required with their values. For example, here value equal to blank I have mentioned, nil. I would have left it without even specifying it. But it is always a good practice to mention it out without losing any data. Okay. So once these three controls have been placed, I'm closing off my form. There is no other control required in that particular form. Body is closed. Sorry, there is a small change to be done here. The body tag that should have been a closing tag. Unfortunately, I did not mention that closing. So anyway, so we have seen that input tag along with the form tag. Now that input tag is having a lot of attributes along with for the type attribute. A lot of different types of controls are there for the type. If the type value is equal to text box, it will create a simple text box, one single line of text box. If the type is equal to password, it will create a simple text box, but whatever password you enter, it will get hidden with the asterisks, replacing the characters that you have typed. If you mention it as checkbox, it will create a checkbox for you with a ticking type of option for you, wherein you can select multiple options. Sometimes instead of multiple options, only one option needs to be selected. Whatever you selected earlier should get deselected automatically. For that reason, we will have a radio button. Then submit we have just before seen. It will create a button for you with a submit automatically written, and when you click it, the form's action attribute, whatever you have specified, the value for action attribute will get executed. If you specify the URL, it will go for that URL and fetch that particular web page for you. If you mention any function to be executed in the action, it will execute that function for us. Just like our submit, we had one more predefined value, which was reset. This reset, if we click that, will create a button for us, and if we click that reset button, it will reset whole of the form back to the initial state wherein there was no data. Then there is one option or one value which is file, which will let us to upload our files. Okay, hidden, this is a very important concept wherein you don't want to show what data is to be sent to the server. You want only what is the user's requirement to be shown. Just like abstraction, you are giving only what the user is needed to know, but in the background you are sending from the client some more piece of information. For example, in case of Amazon, you have clicked on various items, and once you have clicked it, the next time when you open that particular application, automatically it will capture what you have earlier searched and clicked on, and it will give new items based on the similarity to the previously selected ones. How is it predicting that earlier you searched only for those items, and how is it predicting that your interest maybe with the similar type of items? It's based on certain data which it has captured hiddenly from your client application back onto its server, Amazon's server. So hidden is a type value, is a value for the type attribute which will not be displayed on the HTML page, but its value will be captured and sent to the server. So what should be captured and how it should be captured is a part of programming. When you become a web developer, you will be analyzing what data is needed for you to analyze back at the server end, and you will capture the data and you will try to retrieve the data at server. Then image is for uploading of the image, and button is to create a button for you with a customized caption with it. Now, the name, as we have earlier seen, is actually required when you want to have distinguishing between multiple controls of similar nature. Value specifies what should be the value for this particular form, actually. Okay, if its value is a checkbox or type is equal to radio button, something like that, we have seen various type of things. If it is text, if the type is text and value is blank, it will create a text box without any value inside it. But if you mention some dummy value inside it, that value will be present as it is. Size will specify how much size of text box you want, this much size or this much size. Based on your requirement, you will increase the size or decrease the size. Maximum length of characters that are allowable to be entered. Then check, suppose there are multiple options and you want certain options to be by defaultly checked up. Then you will have this option checked to be enabled or disabled. SRC is for image to be uploaded. What image is to be added to the web page. Now coming, we have seen the text box. Now coming for text area. Text area, as I said, is going to take multiple lines of code. Those multiple lines of codes are considered as rows and columns. So how many lines you want, those many rows you have to create. In each line, how many characters you are expecting to be entered up. Maximum number of characters in each line. So you can mention that as a column value. So what you have to do is you have to write text area, and then you have to write rows equal to how many rows you want, and columns equal to how many columns you want. Enclose the text area. Similar to text box, it is having its own name, number of rows and columns, which are very important attributes for us. There is one more tag, just like input tag, as button tag. This button tag is actually used for creating buttons. The difference between the input type equal to button and just button tag is that with the help of button tag, You can even place a image caption of the button. Whereas when you use input type equal to button, you can just specify value over there wherein you have to type some value in characters. So only the characters will be there on the button. Now with the help of button tag, you can attach a image also to that particular button. Okay, for example, thumbs up button is actually it's a button, you are clicking it. So when thumbs up is there, is the thumbs up a character or a particular image? It's a image, icon image. So for that reason, we'll have a button as the tag itself. So in case of button, you have got opening tag and a closing tag. But in case of input, it's a self-closing tag. It doesn't has any closing tag with it. Within the opening tag itself, you will do all this work. Just for a quick review, I'm keeping it. Can you see? I've just written input opening tag here, and I've with a space I've specified a slash. Means this particular tag, there is no closing tag mentioned over here, so I cannot keep in between anything between the opening and closing. Just like BR, self-closing tag. But in case of button, it is having opening tag as well as closing tag. Whatever you want to have as the caption, keep within the opening and closing. Here is the trick. What you will do is you will keep a image tag instead of the click here. You will include an image tag. We can include anything in between the opening and the closing tags. So you will embed one more image tag within that, and that image will be displayed on the button. As well as you can attach a functionality to be performed when the button is clicked. So for that reason, what we'll do is we'll have button and we'll name that particular button with some variable name and value what is to be displayed on the button. I've written here. Type, I'm telling that it's of a category of button. It's not of submit or reset. It's just a normal button. On click is another attribute. Whatever is mentioned in the red color is attributes. Whatever I mentioned in red color are attributes. Okay. On click is one single word and it's a keyword which tells the compiler what is to be done when the button is clicked. On clicking of the button, what is to be performed. So I'm telling on click, I'm making a call to a function hello. Okay, and what is to be written over there, click here is written on the button. So when a user clicks on that particular button, this function hello will get called up. So way to write this hello function now. HTML is not a programming language, it's a markup language, right? But we can include JavaScript. JavaScript, it is not Java language, it's a JavaScripting language. Actually, JavaScript is a separate language, Java is a separate language. JavaScript is one single word, JavaScript. This is a separate language which can be included in HTML as a client side or nowadays a server side programming language also. So to include that JavaScript code within our HTML, we have to write that particular JavaScript code in a tag called as script tag. What is the name of the tag? Script tag. So within the script tag, I will define what is the function. So defining the function is very easy in JavaScript. It's not at all as complex as that of C language also. Forget about C++. It's very simple. What we have to do is we have to write a keyword over here, function, and we have to mention what is the name of the function. The same thing which we made a call here. Within, the function is distinguished with a key from a keyword with the help of parenthesis. So I will mention the parenthesis here. Then opening brace. There is there are various predefined functions in JavaScript. One of the predefined functions is alert, which will create a alert pop-up box for us. So what is the alert message to be given to the user? I'm telling hello button tag user has been utilized. This is the simple part for my function, closing of the function, and then closing of your script tag. So uh, now within the form itself, when you want to have the functionality of the button, we have earlier created one form, right? Where we have created one button with the value as submit, type as submit. So it was creating a submit button wherein if I click that button, it is going to take whatever values have been entered in the form and send it to the server or to the next page, right? Same over here, if I want to make use of the button tag instead of the input tag, then how to do it? I have to just write button, type it equal to reset. It will create a reset button for us. That button will just uh, blank up the form which has been filled with some dummy values. Okay, or some unnecessary values. So what will it do? What will this third example do? It will just create a particular form of this nature. In input type equal to text box, I want to have a text box here, and then I wanted to have a button here with the reset display. Now for this button attribute, there are lot many attributes. Or button tag, there are lot many attributes associated with it. Few of the attributes I have listed here which are most important and very necessary to be learned as a computer science graduate. The first attribute which is very important for us, actually it is in ascending order of your alphabets. The first one is autofocus. This autofocus, you can imagine, like for example, you opened your Google login or your Facebook login or any Twitter login, something like that. So when you open your login, automatically the username's input box will have the cursor blinking there. You just need to type your name or something like that. Or else let me open that for you and show it. I clicked on sign in. Just observe. Can you see this cursor getting blinked automatically inside here? Right? Or else let us say you see there are two text boxes actually without the bordering. They removed the border over here. It's a part of CSS. Now can you see out of the two text boxes, the first one is getting the cursor blinking at this position automatically. Actually, there are three controls here. One is the two text boxes, one is the button. They have modified that one, and there is one more button. Four controls are there. The fourth one being the create account. Now, in out of the four, the first one is getting the focus initially. So autofocus tells which control to be made as the autofocus when the page loads up. Okay, it's also important. So now, disable it means you might have seen certain logins wherein unless and until you enter the username and password, the login button will be grayed grayed out. Once you enter your username and password correctly, it will enable the button to log in. Or else sometimes you will have a captcha to be entered. Without the captcha being entered, the button will be there, but it will be dummy. You will not be able to perform any action unless and until you enter the correct captcha. Okay, that captcha is a part of JavaScript only. we will see how to have that Ajax also. If time permits us, we'll have one Ajax class also. But I don't think at the end of the whole subject, we'll try to have those things. Ajax is an enhancement of JavaScript actually. There is one more attribute called as form, and it specifies which form the button belongs to. Suppose in a particular web page there are multiple forms, and within uh, uh, two three forms, in between the two three forms there is a button. Now that button belongs to which of the forms? That is to be mentioned here. What action to be performed when the button is clicked? What is the form action to be performed? Form method, what is the method to be executed when that particular, whether to have a get or to have a post? Then what is the encryption type, whether to have a validation effect or not? Form no validation, no validate means it will not check what is your username and password, all those things. It will simply send the data to the server. What should be the form target? Just like the links, you had target underscore blank for opening in a new tab. Target is equal to underscore self to open within the same tab, something like that. Then name of the button, type of the button, and value of the button. Another tag which is important, another control which is important for us to know is select. This select will actually let you to have something like this drop type of facility, drop and select. So once you click it, it will get expanded into a list format from which you can select one of the list items. So here, how to create that one is by using a select tag itself. Within the select tag, you have to use one more tag called as option. You will mention option and what is the value to be displayed within here, what is written here should be mentioned in here. But for example, let me say, I mentioned here student names. So all the students' names have been displayed here. But once a particular name is selected, in the background of the HTML for computational purpose, for programming purpose, I will not take the name as it is. I will take what is the pin number of that particular name. Getting my point? So what is displayed is to be displayed within the opening and closing tag of the option. But what should be its value internally is being mentioned in the value. Though I have written them of the same spellings, but you can see there is a difference in the capital S and small s. Can you see that particular difference? Even for Melbourne, there is a difference in M. But here I introduce one keyword which is selected. That selected means automatically that will be displayed over here as a default value which is selected. Usually you will have select written over here as one of the items in the list, and that select will be mentioned as selected, or else you will have none written here and that none will be written with selected. So that options, how you want to organize, you can organize them. It's your wish. But the basic point is to create a drop-down list, you will make use of two tags. One is the select, second is the option. Within the select, you will enclose a lot of options, which will let you to select any one of those options. Okay. So it's going to have three attributes basically. One of the attributes specifies whether that particular out of these different items, which one is selected. That is selected attribute. Wherever you mention that attribute, that particular item will be listed as a selected one by default. Value specifies what should be the value for this selected item internally. For example, student name is over here, Abdul Rahman. What is the value to be selected for that particular one? Okay. Then label will is very similar to that of what is being written here. But if you don't write here, the label will be selected as a value to be displayed in the list. Coming on for opt group and field set and label tags. This option group is, for example, suppose you have a drop down list. Let us get back to this one. There is a drop down list, right? But sometimes what will happen is, for example, if you are selecting your address, various countries will be listed up. Now, once you click on your country, India, it will again give a sub branch to it, telling what is the state within that India. So India will not be selectable. It will be allowing you to select which state within the India to be selected. So actually it has grouped all the states of India into a single label called as India. And like India, it has listed all the countries. Now once you try to click on India, it will expand India into multiple states and you will be able to select one of the states. To create that facility, we'll have option group used. So whether you use option or option group, you have to enclose them within a select tag. Remember this thing. So we are writing select over here. Now instead of option, single option, we are having a bunch of options, right? Combined together into one single label. Like India, I have kept over here Australia. Now, within that Australia, there are various cities, various states. Of these states is Sydney. We call them states here. There we call it as Sydney city, something like that. So, like Sydney, there is Melbourne, one more option. Like that, in New Zealand, there is Cromwell, there is Queenstown. All those cities are there, which are grouped together into one option group. Okay. And at the end, you need to close the select. Now, you may get to know what is this label, right? Here also, we have seen this label as one of the attributes of the select. So, moving further, there is one more called as field set tag. This field set tag and legend tag, they are very important. We'll see how that particular field set tag, legend tag and label tag will be used. Just have a look at this white part of the screen, which is containing the first name, surname, or the last name, and preferred name. And I have grouped them together into a single box, and I have kept a label or name to that particular box, name details. Similarly, what is the gender? There are three controls over here, and I have combined all the three controls into a single box with a label as gender. To have that particular thing to be generated, to have these things to be generated, we have got different tags to be utilized. For example, to have this name details to be written and gender to be written, we have a tag called as legend. We have a tag called as legend. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll first create, but these are uh, these are all the fields or all the controls within a field set, right? So what we'll do is first we'll create the field set and then give a label to it. So for that reason, we are creating a field set. Why I have written over here disabled, I'll let you know. Legend, and I am giving the name of the legend. Now within this field set, what are the different controls? How many controls are there? Three controls are there. I am mentioning all the three controls. Input type is equal to text, then surname, input type is equal to text with those details, then preferred name, input type is equal to text with this style, width is equal to. Now what is the style? You may get a doubt. For a moment, just ignore it. I will let you know what is that style. But what I'm doing is I'm clubbing them into one single unit, one single box, are called as field set. This box is actually in HTML terminology called as field set. And I am giving a common label to it using a command called as legend command. So first I am creating a field set. What is disabled, that also please for time being ignore it. I will let you know what will happen. So my field set is starting here and ending here. So whatever three controls are there, I have kept them inside them. And to give a common name to them, I have kept a legend and I have given name details. Coming now for this style, input type is equal to text, you have already understood. What style is, if you want to give any styling effect, already the text box is there, its structure is available, it will create a bordering effect to the place area where you can type something. Now you want to have certain limitations of its size. So you have got one option wherein you can use this size attribute and you can mention how much width of the text box you want to have. But in case of in case of further progress, advanced HTML has filtered out or eliminated whatever uh, facilities are there for enhancements to a separate unit called as CSS, Cascading Style Sheet. It has limited itself for simplicity to only structural overview. Uh, just for a quick, I was getting a error message that my internet, there is some issue with my internet connectivity. Am I audible to all? Okay, Neha, thank you. So, not that clear. Yes, I can understand now. I'm trying my level best. I'm using my mobile internet connectivity, mobile hotspot. That's why maybe it is lacking up. So anyway, we'll continue here as much as possible. Please excuse me for that particular lacking effects. And also the meeting is going to close within 5 minutes, it seems. So let us close with this slide and then we'll end up our meeting over here. So coming next, what I'm doing is I'm using the attribute called as style. I'll close this video, not necessary. I'm using a style attribute, and this style attribute will have various elements which you can use to modify or apply certain styling effects. Out of the various elements which you can use to apply the styling effects, one of it is width. This width will be specifying how many pixels you want your application or your tag to work with. Okay, so here do remember that style is the attribute and width is one of the elements inside it. That's why for this style you will use a equal to sign, but for this element you will use a colon sign. You will not use equal to. You will use colon symbol over here. So coming next for disabled, I want all the three of them to be disabled at a moment of time. And after a while, those three should be enabled all at a time. So for that facility, we will combine them together so that they can be enabled or disabled at a given moment of time. At some programming logic, with some programming logic, we will either enable them or disable them. By default, I am keeping it as disabled. Field set, all the three are disabled. Nothing can be entered inside them. And for the radio buttons, I did not mention whether they are enabled or disabled, and I have just kept a legend over there with the three radio buttons being mentioned over there as field set elements. Then there is last topic of our HTML, which we will discuss later. So till here, all the whatever we have learned is clear for everyone. If you have any doubt, please raise it out. Okay, ma, thank you. I'm closing this session now. We'll get back at 11 o'clock, inshallah. Sorry, 12 o'clock. Thank you, everyone.